Andy at Black Sugar Transmission. He's a part of one of my secret books that I'm working on.
Okay, I want to talk about Bear Sedatives. This is a Jason Bieler song that came out recently, and I played on it. So I wanted to talk about what I played and why, and isolate some of my guitar tracks and let you hear what I did on this track. So yeah, let's just play the beginning of it here. I have an early sort of reference mix. This isn't the final mix of Bear Sedatives, but it's close enough that you'll be able to hear what's going on. So it starts out really simple with just a held G note. And then I came in with this. Okay, so what that is, it's just me playing a few notes. But I've got the Digitech space station on the signal there, and it's giving this really kind of lo-fi, pixelated harmony. It's just adding a fifth on top of everything that I'm playing. So we've got this. It kind of ends up sounding more like that, with that kind of melancholic. I don't know. It's kind of a junky lo-fi sound that has a certain charm to it, the way a mellotron does. The way a mellotron, I think, kind of pulls at the heartstrings even more than like listening to a real string section. Kind of odd how that works. But anyway, we're into the first verse here. He's sort of, from a music theory point of view, as I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, okay, he's in the Mixolydian mode. This is either the chorus or the pre-chorus. Okay, so I wanted to talk about this guitar part I put in here. Now, my thought process behind this is first of all, he stopped singing there, so I'm going to put in an answering part. Because, you know, if Jason wants me to play on a song, I'm going to play on it. I'm going to play everywhere there's a space. And what he's doing underneath, sort of in the rhythm, is this, you know, something like that, just held notes in the bass end of the guitar. So, actually use the scratchy pick probably. So my idea was to put an answering part in there that is sort of harmonically a ways away from where everything else is. It's up high, and it's also got like a scratchy texture to it that it just adds something that kind of tickles the ear. Now this is call this the chorus, I guess, but again, I'm just playing in the spaces there. So he's got all this stuff going on, and then just put in that sort of answering lead guitar thing. It's backwards. It's one of the patches on the space station where it just spits out everything that you play backwards, as if you're listening to a tape being played backwards, which is one of my favorite things to do. It gives it kind of a psychedelic, hallucinatory quality. So this part, I'm putting a slide guitar thing on top. So Jason's doing this whatever he's doing. I didn't figure it out, but so I wanted to stay away from that. So I go all the way up here. And I'm just kind of accentuating a couple of notes from a G major chord really up high, and I'm making the notes really spacious because what he's doing there is very kind of tight and you know, controlled. So I wanted something that kind of floats over top of it and sounds kind of big and vast. So again, that crunchy kind of reverb from the space station, it's kind of junky sounding, but it's got like a really cool, unique vibe that I wouldn't get from just plugging in some reverbs in Cubase, for instance. So here's a little instrumental section before the verse starts, and I'm going to solo up what I did there. So this is baritone guitar. So again, just kind of adding a texture that wasn't there before. Now this lead guitar is just harmonizing Jason's voice. So I'm adding something that's not stepping on what he's doing. You're kind of sitting a little bit above where he is vocally. So that's kind of an interesting thing there, this ring mod. Let's skip ahead here. So that's just a little bit of excitement there. I don't remember exactly what I did, but you know, again, I'm throwing in everything, including the kitchen sink here. So this is like. So this is similar to what I did the first time around with the slide, but I made it a little different. So rather than copy and paste what I did the first time around, I sort of embellished on the idea and made it a little different. I actually really like this version. I think it's got a more interesting melody. But yeah, it's kind of cool when a part kind of evolves as the song goes along. It's all too easy to just copy and paste something across the whole song and just have it be exactly the same time every time that part happens. Too many records are made that way. So here's my guitar solo. So I just want to say, like, just a general thing about Jason and I having this working relationship that works so well, and it shouldn't really, because we're kind of the same. We're kind of the same person. We're both kind of like autonomous songwriters. We're both guitar players. We're both singers. And Jason is a better guitar player than me, and he's a better singer, and he's probably a better songwriter, but what he said is that I complete his ideas by adding things that he would never think of. I just had dinner with Jason and his wife a few weeks ago when I was on tour with KMFDM. We played in Charlotte and they took me out to dinner, and he said something like, "You have the paints that I don't have in my paint box," which is just sort of a kind of a beautiful way of saying that I do stuff that he wouldn't think of. And on my side of it, I'm listening to what he's got, and I'm reacting to it and having to come up with ideas that are not, redundant and unnecessary. So it's kind of a challenge because he sends me these songs that sound pretty fully realized. I also think it's really cool that he just gives me all the lead guitar action in these songs. Like, he's an amazing guitar player, but he lets me solo in all these tunes. So like Jason Bieler, this great guitar shredder of all time, doesn't even play solos on his own record. That's kind of cool. So let me talk about the solo. So what he's giving me to play over here is this Mixolydian. And that to me is spelling out a Mixolydian scale, essentially. It's got the root, it's got the major third, it's got the flat seven. When I hear something like this and I realize that I have an opportunity to solo over it, I immediately start thinking, like, how can I push the boundaries of this harmony? So what I ended up doing was playing a little bit more of I guess you'd call it an Aeolian dominant scale over this. So instead of Mixolydian, I played, it's basically like the same thing but with a flat six, and that really kind of jumps out at the ear, especially when this. Okay, so I don't remember exactly what I did in this solo because it was improvised, but it's basically using this Aeolian dominant scale, which is I'm kind of basically leaning on an F7 and a G7 arpeggio over and over again, because I think that kind of gets to the heart of that scale. So again, throwing in some gratuitous fireworks. Something like that. So we have this instrumental section I kind of laid off here because this is all Jason. I don't think it needed anything else. And I'm back in here. Let's listen to that little. This is just sort of a little bit of audio trickery here. And just a G power chord that I fucked up. That little lick there. Let's see if I can get an appropriate sound, but like. Again, just a little bit of fireworks there to usher in the last verse. And here I'm playing slide again with that really grimy reverb sound on it. I want to say too that I limited myself to the Digitech space station for this song. I only used that pedal. And if you go back, I think earlier this year I did a demo video of that pedal. It's a really cool out of production artifact of the 90s, and it's such a quirky thing. It's got a lot of weird, almost unusable presets in it, but it's got some really incredible stuff that is just super unique. And I think that like creating limitations for yourself is really good creatively to stimulate ideas. Force myself to live with just the sounds that are in that pedal. It's easy to get paralyzed with choices, so, you know. So a lot of this is... So this time you might notice that I changed the harmony a little bit on that scratchy part. So now I'm kind of leaning on that flat 6 a little bit more. So I think I was doing... So it's a much more exotic version of what I was doing originally in this part of the song. Again, just fighting against the urge to copy-paste ideas across the song. This is a new figure here. And this is also leaning on that flat 6. So you know what I love about working with Jason is he lets me get weird. So I do all this strange harmonic stuff, really strange effects and just weird quirky shit. And he puts it all in there. But he's weird too, so lead guitar solo here at the end. So that's the backward setting on the space station. Very spacey, very psychedelic. So you get the idea there. Yes, if you're interested in because I don't have the space station plugged in right now. If you're interested in hearing that, and you haven't already seen my video, go back to earlier this year. I did a sort of a demo video. I've had it for a long time. I think they're pretty pricey on eBay at this point. Vernon Reed's a big user of these. Yeah, it's a really cool, limited but really unique textural palette in there. So anyway, that's just that's just a little bit of an insight into Bear Sedatives and my contributions to it. It's always so fun to do this. We've been working on some songs lately, and I think Jason really gets a kick out of just seeing what I'm going to do on his tunes. But he trusts me, and so for him, it's like he's not jealously guarding his real estate. He's like, do your thing. So that's kind of the ultimate creative place to be. I think when you're collaborating with someone, it's just like that trust. So anyway, check out Bear Sedatives. Go to Jason's Bandcamp and check it out. Check out the real proper mix. And that's all for now.